Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
You're listening to In the Spotlight with Jill Nicolini on Business Talk Radio, where we take your business to the next level. Welcome back to Business Talk Radio. Jill Nicolini here. Joining me now, we have attorney, founder of the law offices of Eric M. Sarver, based out of New York City. Welcome, Eric, to the show.
Thank you, Jill. It's good to be here.
Oh, same here. So your website, let's point that out right away. That's sarver-law, law.com. And it seems that you deal with labor, employment law, business law, contracts, you name it. Please give us some insight into your company, of course, and how you got started.
Sure thing. Will do. Well, I guess I can start with my company, my law firm, and what I do. You're right on the money, Jill. I do practice in all of those areas, and I can get into a little bit more of the specifics without getting too into the weeds, as they say. As I mentioned, the law office of the Eric M. Sarver. And when I say I specialize in employment law and labor law and business law for small to mid-sized businesses and companies, that's in various industries. So my client base includes business owners that are in retail or hospitality, and it ranges through to tech companies, startups, professional service providers. So I've had architects over the years, I've had accountants, I've had brick-and-mortar stores, but the basic common thread is that I help these companies with their employment law and their business law issues. And the way that looks in terms of my services would be where I provide legal guidance, right? So there's the compliance aspect, there's helping companies, helping businesses to navigate and to comply with all of the different labor and employment laws that anyone listening who owns a business knows there are plenty of them to abide by. So I help companies in that respect, Jill. A second way that my law firm helps business owners and companies is that we also represent employers who may be facing tense legal disputes, maybe with one of their employees, or maybe with several employees, or perhaps with another entity or organization. So I defend companies and businesses from, for example, charges and claims that an employee may bring before the New York State Department of Labor or in federal or state court. And then finally, I help employers and business owners by drafting their employment contracts and their employee handbooks and policies to make sure that I can try to help them stave off trouble in the first place. And then last but not least, in the business law component, that tends to be a lot of transactional and contract work as well. So a company or a business that's, whether you're an advanced business that's looking to have a shareholder agreement or a partnership agreement, or whether you are just starting out and you need somebody to help you to form an LLC and issue stock, for example, if you're an S Corp or C Corp, I do that as well. So that would be, I'd say, my services and my clientele. And I believe you asked me how I started out. Is that correct?
Yeah, please. I want to know about you. Where were you? Where'd you grow up? Where'd you go to school? And what got you into this field of practicing law?
Sure, a great question. Well, I appreciate the chance to give your listeners a little bit of insight into me as a person, the personal side as well, which can be, I find employment law interesting, but I think people find the personal interesting as well. I started out. I was born in Brooklyn. But my parents moved to Long Island when I was about 10 months old, so I can't really, in fairness, say I'm a Brooklyn kid at heart. But I was raised in Long Island, actually in Valley Stream, and I then spent 4 years upstate. Not prison, that's college, that was, I should say. I went to Binghamton University, SUNY Binghamton, and then after college, I came back down to Long Island for law school, went to Hofstra Law, and I graduated Hofstra Law in the spring or May of 1998, and then, Jill, I took the bar and worked at a couple of small outfits, small firms, for about 2.5 years. I worked at a small civil rights firm where I learned about employment law for the employee side, which I still do some work in that field as well, of employee side law. But then I also went to a general practice, and then finally a prominent civil rights firm in Long Island for about 14 months. And then in April of 2001, that's when I decided to start my own practice. So I went out on my own. I hung my own shingle, got an office in Queens. I was living in Queens at the time, in Astoria, had an office in Forest Hills. And then over the years, I migrated to Manhattan, and then met my, at the time, didn't know yet, met my wife, or at the time, woman I was dating, when we both lived in Manhattan. And we got married in the fall of 2016, and we now live in New Jersey. We have an 11-month-old son, and that's pretty much the history of my life, Joe, from birth until now. You've got it right there.
That's fantastic. It's good to know who we're working with. Now, so in 2001, was it that you opened your practice?
That is correct, yes. It was April of 2001.
Okay. And how many attorneys work with your firm?
So, you mean at the time I opened, or at the time
no,
right now?
Currently now, yes.
Oh, sure. Okay. So right now I have 3 attorneys that are of counsel. They're basically as needed, and I'm sorry, 2 are of counsel, 2 are that are of, as needed. For example, when I have an overspill of work to do, and I give them work, and they do it for me, and then I pay them. They're of course properly set up as independent contractors, and they have their own firms as well. And then I have a co-counsel whom I hire to handle my intellectual property and trademark matters. I also have a part-time paralegal working with me that can help me with he's really good with my litigation papers, gets everything put together for copies and filing and so forth. And but the main attorney from the firm is me. And the good thing about that for my clients is that they know that I know their case inside and out, because nothing is being assigned to a junior associate just to handle. So when my clients hire me to help them rather with their Department of Labor issues or to straighten out a contract for them, they know that I know their whole situation from beginning to end, which I think is an important point to make.
No, absolutely. That's fantastic. Now,